Hey guys, I am back with another video because I am not yet doing the thing I said I was going to, but I'm talking to someone in my family about it. And I've already talked to obviously my mom and her boyfriend about this thing that I need to still bring up to this person, but I'm talking to somebody else in my family about this, a very important person as well to my life. And it worries me a little bit about telling this specific family member because they have great involvement with this person that I'm hoping to cut off. And it's going to be hard for them to hear this news. So I'm unfortunately going through this back and forth in my head about doing it now because of that person, but I know I have to stick with my gut and what I know I need to do. I need to cut this person off and tell this person as well, why I'm cutting them off and all that stuff. But yeah, this family member is the first step. So it's terrifying because it's all happening so fast, but I'm also excited and gonna be so relieved once I get this out, and I'll probably make a video after I do this as well. Sorry, I'm still sick. I was sick last time and I'm still sick. My nose isn't dripping as badly this time though. That was so bad. I rewatched it and I was like, I'm so sorry to everybody that watched that. My bad. But anyways, yeah, it's been so hard, and I talked to my mom on the phone today, and she's also a little bit nervous, but she knows it needs to happen and everything. Nervous about me talking to this person in my family, not the other person, right? And yeah, but it's just what I know needs to be done. It's weighing me down, and I can't let it weigh me down anymore. And I'm also, I think I said this in the last video as well, but I'm getting to exam season now, which is making things a lot more difficult to, focus on trying to get this other thing, dealt with kind of thing before my exams are over. But I also think it would be a huge relief during my exam season if I can get it over with, So exams don't start. My first one isn't until the 11th of December, I found out, so I have a little bit of time to kind of deal with things. And then also, once exams are over, I can really just chill and focus on me, which I'm very much looking forward to, especially after how much I'm gonna be going through after this whole thing. But maybe I won't go through I don't know how I'm even going to personally deal with this loss in my life. I don't even know how I'm gonna feel. It's very complicated, so it's a little bit scary, but I just really want to make my inner child proud and do what I should have done years ago, for my younger self. I need to do this now. I know I've waited so long and so much time has passed since I've thought about this, dealt with this, anything. I didn't even bring it up to my therapist until this year, and I have been with her for a year and a half. Sorry guys, my lips are chapped. But yeah, it was a really hard thing for me to even get out in therapy, and usually I'm not, well, I can't say much now, but I usually don't keep a lot of secrets. I guess if it's something silly with my friends or something, and she's like, oh, like, please don't tell anybody. Like, of course. But it's like, for this thing, it was a pretty intense secret for me to keep for so long. And nobody knew, nobody, like, I could have took it to my grave, and I decided not to. And I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself for doing that. And that is one reason why I'm still going through with this whole thing, because I'm doing it for me, and it's all about me, like, as selfish as it sounds. But it's not even selfishness, it's just what's right, you know, for me and for my emotions. And yeah, it's just kind of what I need to do. I also want to discuss something that's happened since the last video. There was somebody, I guess I didn't really talk about this person, but I will in this, because I doubt they'll ever see this. So, there was someone in my life that is, I wouldn't even consider them in my life anymore. I've kind of, like, cut them off, but, like, not really, like, quietly. You know, you can quietly cut people off, where you just kind of slowly move away, don't really talk to them that much. And I'm now realizing that that was a great idea for many reasons. There's a lot of reasons why I'm glad I did that. And still continuing to do that. Like, I'm not making conversation with this person, like, nothing. Like, unless they initiate it, kind of thing, whatever. But, like, it's not really doing anything for me. So I had to just energetically let go. And I'm so glad I did. And I'm in this amazing period of my life right now that I am definitely taking for granted, because it's hard. It kind of sucks, low-key. Like, I'm very lonely. Obviously I have friends and family, whatever, but just being single and everything, like, I haven't been single this long in a very long time, and it's a blessing and a curse, really, because it's like, I know this is time for my self-reflection and just doing things for me, because it's like, I don't have somebody to give things to or whatever. But I don't even want that. I'm at this point where it's not that I don't want a relationship eventually, but, like, right now I know this is time for me to work on the things. Like, that's why I'm also going through with this decision, right? Because it's something for me during this period where I'm not focused on a guy, I'm not focused on his feelings, or, because again, like, that's how I am, unfortunately. Or not even just their feelings, but just, I'm a very, like, empathetic person, I guess. Like, again, people pleaser. It used to be me. I'm trying to get out of that now, my tendencies. But yeah, like, I'm just glad that I'm working on getting out of that spot, because I forget, sorry, where I was going with that before, but I'm glad that I am working on getting out of the people pleaser thing, and that's also why I'm doing this specific hard thing that I don't really want to do, but I know I need to for my own good. That is also something that I have held on to for so long because of being a people pleaser. It is something that I have realized now I have dealt with for so long and not even known it in my head. And that's another reason why I'm really happy that I go to therapy, because my therapist introduces me to things that I never even knew were going on in my head. Like, and I love that about going to therapy and talking to my therapist, her specifically, because she, like, can read me. Like, it's scary a little bit, but it's like, I love you, girl. Like, shout out Natasha. I love you, Natasha. I really do. She's amazing. But anyway, therapy shout out. But I totally recommend to anybody, and I know you probably hear people say this all the time, but I'm so serious. It doesn't matter what you're going through, even if you're going through nothing, therapy is amazing. It makes you learn so much about yourself, and so much about self-growth and not thinking about it as a selfish thing, because that's what I used to think. Again, being a people pleaser, I was so used to just, whatever, like, that's okay. It's all good. Like, you know, I'll do that for you, sure. Yeah, of course. Why would I not? Like, those were my kind of responses. And, like, I can't even see myself today doing that if I don't want to. And that's what I'm so happy about, is that I'm getting out of that, like, doing things for people. And, like, oh, that's what I was talking about before. Like, in relationships, like, I'm such a people pleaser where I'm always just, like, doing everything for that person, like, including my thoughts and whatever, like, trying to, like, conform to them almost. And, like, I don't want to conform anymore. I want to be myself, and I want to find people that match me, that I don't have to try and control, because I used to be that person. I will be so honest. It's hard to admit that I used to be a controlling, but it's always justified, you know? It's never wrong to want trust, loyalty, the basic things. It's not something that, like, shouldn't, like, I don't know how to explain this, but it's like, that's always going to be something I want from my partner. I want to feel like I can trust them and whatever. And I have things in my head that I want my dream person to have, like, qualities I want them to have, and that includes, you know, me being able to trust them, like, being able to, you know, because I'm bad with looking at people's profiles. So I'm a horrible person, okay, in that aspect. Like, I am such a bad, like, looking through your social media, like, making sure there's no new girls on there, like, blah blah blah. And, like, I can have those standards. I feel like I've mentioned this before, but it's like, never discount your standards for anybody. I don't care. Like, do not do it. I've realized it just does not work in the end. As much as you want to pretend like those things don't bother you, they are going to bother you, and you're allowed to be bothered by them, because that is your feelings, especially if you're in a relationship with someone and you see they followed, like, some beautiful, like, Instagram model type thing. You're gonna have some thoughts go through your head, and that is where you form those boundaries where you're like, nah, you're not doing that. And, like, I can see, you know, maybe that person changing after that, but again, they shouldn't be conforming to what you want, and you shouldn't conform to what they want. At the end of the day, you should still always have your personal boundaries and things that you want in someone. It doesn't matter if it takes 20 years to find this person. Like, that's the mindset I'm in today. It doesn't matter if I don't find them in my 20s. I can be fucking hot and single in my 20s. That's fine. I'm cool with that. Also, I'm so sorry about my tongue. Gross. I had coffee, like, a few hours ago. I know, it's literally, well, I don't know if you can tell, but it's late outside. Late. Did I just say late outside? I meant, like, dark outside. It's late right now. I was, like, mixing thoughts. I don't know. But, yeah, like, sorry about my tongue. It's just coffee from earlier. I was working on a, paper, and I needed some fuel, so. But anyway, forget what I was saying, but, like, I'm just, yeah, like, over this, like, idea of who I thought I was, or even maybe the person I was, and I don't blame that person, you know, for being that people pleaser, trying to fit into other people's molds, and realizing we're not a fit because they're not a fit for me, you know? So, I'll run down a few of my, like, standards that I've kind of picked up over the years that I'm like, ooh, didn't like that, don't want you now, you know? And it took a while to get to that point of, like, oh, that hurts a lot, but, like, oh, I might stay, like, I think I'm gonna stay with you. It was a lot of that, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants to be in that position where, like, something really hurts them, but they're still like, oh, I guess that's fine. totally was me. Totally was me. And I'm getting to a point where I'm like, I don't really care if one thing goes bad now. Like, one of my standards is not met with someone, there will be another guy. There will be. I know it might not seem like it, especially if you think that guy marks almost all your boxes. I have met a guy that has almost marked all of my boxes, but there was one thing, and I'm not gonna say what it was, but the one standard I had, I feel so bad that I have that standard because this guy was an amazing guy and I could see things like going places. But there's one standard that I was just like, I'm sorry, like, no, I can't actually have a like committed relationship with you because you are not my standard. Like, it's okay to have standards is what I'm trying to say. And like I said again, like, even if it takes 20 years, at least you're working on yourself for 20 years. You're gonna be an amazing person in 20 years because you've spent all that time really focusing on you and not, you know, feeding into somebody else. Especially if you're in that mindset before you get into a relationship, you're in that mindset of like, oh, I really want a boyfriend, like, I just want to spoil them, like, I want to do all these things, and like, everyone does, of course. I'm not saying you're not gonna want that, because I want that too. But I am working on patience and, you know, going for what's right and doing what's right for me right now. And that is, again, back to where we're at. I need to tell this specific person in my family about someone else. And it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be so hard. But it's one of the first steps into my next amazing life. After this huge thing is done, end of this era, okay? And maybe I've already ended an era because now I'm making YouTube videos just spewing out motivation. But it's just like, also sorry I'm like whisper talking. Someone like lives right there, is like laying in bed, probably right there. So I'm not being super loud, but yeah. It's just so much is going to change. Like, once this huge thing, like what I'm trying to say, once this huge thing is over, that part of my life is over, and I'm going into a new chapter that's going to be beautiful, because every new chapter is beautiful. There are beautiful things I've learned in this chapter, so many beautiful things, and you learn from each time that, you know, you make huge decisions. Life is a big game of decisions, it really is, and like choices, chances, what have you, like, but it's also your domain. Like, you choose what you want to do, but also you can trust in the universe or whatever you believe in. You can trust in something, knowing that your life isn't meant to be boring, or like, it might be for a little bit, and that's fine, and that's where you learn to love yourself and learn to find the good things in being bored. Like, you know, it's just staying optimistic, and I say this in every video, but it's so true. Staying so optimistic. Like, I am actually in a pretty good mood today because I got a bunch of grades back, and I'm doing so much better in school than I thought I was doing. Like, so much better. You know, the weight of all my assignments and papers and whatnot was so much. It was a lot. And I was going through it for a little while. And I still kind of am. You know, I'm almost at the end here. I'm grinding it out here. But it's just even amazing to just see myself change from that moment to now. Like, there's just so much that's happened, and that's again why I'm loving recording these videos and posting them for whoever happens to stumble upon them, or they stumble upon you, however you want to take it. But yeah, I'm just very proud of where I've come, like how far I've come from now, and or from before, you know what I mean. I'm losing it right now. But I'm just, yeah, I'm in a great place right now, and I know that, and I'm trying to also see, you know, the positives in doing these things for myself. Again, they're gonna hurt a little, but also knowing it's my own choice, it doesn't make it as painful. It's like, another thing what I've learned is obviously about external validation, and I talked about this in the last one as well, but just not relying on the external validation or whatever to do what you want to do or whatever. Like, you know, in your heart, in your brain, in your soul, whatever, what is meant for you. And you might not really realize it, but like, there's gonna be a little voice in your head when certain decisions do come up where you're gonna be given two options. Let's compare my situation right now. My two options are, I never do anything, well, I guess I'm kind of out of this situation, but let's say before I spoke about this, okay? Let's say before I ever told anyone, I could stay in that spot. I could stay just doing the same things I was doing every day, pushing it down, never talking about it, not letting it affect me. And you know, that's okay too. But I didn't tell anyone, and it was starting to affect me as I got older when certain things would kind of, well, something happened that brought it out, but after it came out, so much changed. So sorry, let me go back. That's your option though. First, you can either take it to your grave, you know, keep living your life and not telling anyone, you know, keeping it pushed down, not thinking about it, whatever. That's this one. This one is you tell people. What's the next step? They're gonna say, what do you want to do about this now that you've told people? And then things progress. And then there's gonna be a new one of these choices. Well, not even a choice. You're just gonna fall into this world. I know I'm being all weird with my hands, but this is gonna be you after you're done here. And that's why life is so beautiful, because it's just a journey. You're taking a huge journey of life, and it's different for everyone, and that's another beautiful thing. You can take as much time as you need in a certain area of your life if you really need to, if you really know also inside of you that, you know, I need a little more time to myself. And that's kind of also where I'm at, where I was when I split from my last boyfriend. I was in this, like, it was like a little bit euphoric at first. It was almost just like, oh my god, like, so much happened. I mean, I was forced to leave this person, but it was, again, for my own good. I started it that way. Honestly, I had to flee my last situation. Like, I had to pack my things and go in the middle of the night type thing. And that taught me a lot about myself. A lot about my, like, I don't know what the word is. My strength, my power. Like, it made me realize that really, if I know something's wrong, I will, like, get out of that situation. Like, that was so much strength for me, because I loved that person, wanted to marry them, thought they were my person, and then things started spiraling, obviously, at the end of the relationship, and really spiraled one day. And that is where I decided to make the decision and just get up and go. I needed to, for my own good. And that's where the self-love journey really started for me. Self-discovery, like, all this stuff. And again, it really made me realize so many things afterwards, like, you know, why, like, working on, like, insecurities, working on, I've always been really good with keeping who I am, like, never really changing who I am on the outside. I'm always, you know, the same person typically, unless, you know, you ruin my life. Totally different. But I really got to focus on, like, deciding what I really want in a relationship, and also deciding, you know, the type of person I want to be. But not for someone else this time, but for me. And then again, it made me realize, like, I have not been single in a very long time, and maybe I need this time to, again, really work on myself. And because I realized, like, honestly, I don't love the person that I am. I love certain things about me, blah, blah, blah. But I knew there were still things holding me back, and that is now, again, back to where I am right now. This is a huge decision. I don't know what's gonna happen. And again, I said this in the last video, but you have to trust in the unknown. As much as, like, it seems so scary and don't feel ready, sometimes you're not going to feel ready. I don't feel ready. I still haven't even done this. But I know for a fact this needs to keep getting out. I need to really talk to this family member, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to just getting it out of the way, because then the next step is talking to that person. So I want to see how this person's going to react, and it's happening tomorrow, so I will probably update sometime after that, or I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, it's kind of crazy to think, like, I'm just trusting in the unknown, and I'm just preaching to you guys because I've known, you know, over time, so much changes. You learn so much. Like, I think it's also a lot to do with relationships in my life with people. Sorry, I haven't ate enough today, so there's like acid coming up. That sounds so disgusting. I'm so sorry. But besides the point, like, I've learned so much in my connections with people. That doesn't necessarily mean just relationships, but a lot of different people, like bosses, like my parents, like all these things. And yeah, it's just, as I get older, the more I look into these things and like really decide like who I want in my life, what I want my life to look like you really look at your future in this time of like your life, especially knowing I am in my last year of university. I still have to do a little bit more school, so I have time to really process, I guess, like what I want to do with my life and whatever. And that's why I'm like starting this way, starting from the root of most of my issues, it seems to be. And also, there is some other issues, like I have a legal issue with one of my ex-boyfriends, and that's not going to be dealt with for a little while. He has a court date on, I think, the 26th of November, if I'm not wrong. Maybe like one of those days, I think, in November, but like around that day. But that is still something holding me back a little bit. But again, this one thing is something I really want to focus on right now, getting out of the way. And it's gonna be so hard. It's gonna be a really hard day. I don't know if I'm gonna cry. I don't know how I'm gonna react, like I said. But yeah, I just really wanted to come on here mostly because I wanted to say, you know, stick to what you know you want, if you know. Like, really. And if you know what's best for you, stick to doing that decision that you decide. And obviously you can take time to think about it and whatnot. It took me how many years? But it also came out really fast, actually, for me, because one traumatic event actually brought it out in me. Like, not out of my mouth, but a traumatic experience I went through. I guess, I don't know how to explain this, but the trauma that I went through previously to this trauma, like the childhood trauma I had, was used against me through this trauma, okay? So it was a mixture of traumas. And that was an interesting moment, but this person knew it was going to get under my skin by using it against me, so that was their tactic. And it's so sad, but some people are just like that. And, you know, I hope he learns, you know, you can't just do that. You can't just be that type of person that he is. And I genuinely want him to get help, and I mentioned that, you know, to the people I had to talk to about like court stuff. But yeah, all I'm really saying is just I'm so scared about this thing I have to do, but I know it's what's right and what I need to do for myself and for me to move on from this, because it's one of those things that it's always sitting here, especially like since I let it out verbally to people. It's really like made it real for me and made it just it's like what's that saying, like it's like opening a wound, basically. It's like reopening a wound where like that's something that was protected in my head, like it was safe there. The only person that like knew about it was the person that caused the trauma, but that was also where I realized I'm not safe with this person because they know what they did and I'm still letting them be in my life. And that's when I realized like I need to take control of my life. Like I can't let this, I call him a manipulator, I can't let this manipulator like take over my emotions. And like they've done it for so long and I've put it down. I've put my feelings in jail, basically. And that's really ruined like my perspective of things. And it's like the same as being like in certain relationships with people. It's affected relationships with people because it's made me realize that like bad things that happened to me, I let those people stick around. That was the issue. I was letting those people stick around and I was attracting bad things for keeping this person in my life. And that's also where I've learned, and I've said this in videos before, once I cut negative things from my life, negative people from my life, whatever, new beautiful things come in. And that's where I'm at today. It's all a good thing in the end. You know, it's all gonna work out how it's supposed to. And that's another thing, is just trusting in that unknown. It's probably gonna be hard for a lot of different reasons, but it's not bringing me joy. It's not boosting my life in any way. It's ruining it. So yeah, please listen to your heart, listen to your soul, listen to your brain, listen to your intuition about anything in your life. It's so important. And again, look inward if you're really unsure about things. How does this thing really make you feel? And would you benefit from having it in your life, or would you not benefit from having it in your life? And then decide from there. I love you. Thanks for coming to watch this. Don't really know what I'm going to title this because I've yapped, but whatever the title is, the title is. So, bye guys. Thanks for watching.